This city shouldn't exist. No, I'm not talking about Venice. It's pretty, but basically a waterlogged museum. Not Vegas either. That glowing fever dream built for hangovers and regrets. This is Black Rock City. For 9 days every year, tens of thousands of burners roll into the desert, build a city from scratch, live in it, then pack it up and vanish like it was never there. There are no shops, no metro. You've got zero chance ordering Uber Eats at midnight. You bring everything you need to survive and abide by the 10 core principles. Whatever they are. These days is far removed from where it started, when a few friends burned a wooden man on a beach in San Francisco. Now it's a full-blown city. Camps, sculptures, temples, and even an airport. And yeah, that wooden guy still gets torched at the end. But the real question is, how do you actually build a city like this? Imagine waking up in your tent, dust in your sleeping bag, sun already cooking you alive. You unzip the flap and think, where even am I? I have no idea where I am, so I'm just gonna ask this chick here.
Well, looks like someone had a good night last night. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling okay. Yeah, but listen, I have no idea where I am.
We're at 9 and B, Black Rock City, the greatest place on Earth.
9 and B? What does that mean?
Oh, honey, you're in for a treat. The whole city's laid out like a giant clock. The man's right in the center. All the streets are like the hours, and the rings are the letters. It's a beautiful design, really. It's all part of this magical geometry. Or maybe just some obsessive planning that Rod Garrett cooked up back in the 90s. Pretty cool, huh?
At first glance, Black Rock City looks totally alien. A giant circle in the desert, a pentagon for the perimeter road, even laid out like a sundial. It feels almost occult, like some piece of sacred geometry carved into the dust. But it's not magic, and there's even real precedent. Black Rock City has a lot in common with Amsterdam. Radial layouts, bikes everywhere, art in every corner, and yeah, the occasional cloud of suspicious smoke.
Right up front, facing the open playa, you've got the Esplanade. By day, it's bikes and shade. By night, fire, lights, and sound systems that shake your ribs. It's truly something else.
She's talking about the Esplanade, the city's urban promenade. This is where the biggest camps plant themselves, for front row on the city's stage. They're massive productions funded by member dues and donations, built by volunteer crews who spend all year getting ready. And once the gate open, it's all given away. No tickets, no cover charge. Just fire, sound, and lights, gifted to the city for free. What would you suggest I go see first?
Well, the man, of course. He's kind of a big deal around here. He's like 100 feet tall and nearly as handsome as you.
Okay, cool. How should I go see the man?
Here, you can take a yellow bike. I saw one knocking around here earlier. It'll get you there much faster than walking. Have fun, and maybe I'll see you around the playa.
Maybe.
You should come out with me later. Carl Cox is playing Robot Heart. Don't make me dance there alone. It was fun chatting with you, cutie. See you around the playa?
Okay, see you later. Okay, well, this is the yellow bike she was talking about, and you're probably looking at it going, but that's green. They call it the Community Yellow Bike Program. Free bikes, painted green, but stenciled yellow bike. The rules are simple. Don't steal them, don't hoard them, don't redecorate them. And yeah, wear pants while riding them. Apparently, that needed spelling out. It's basically Burning Man's version of a city bike scheme. Back home in Manchester, we had the same at bikes too, and people hoarded the shit out of them. You'd find them in gardens, in trees, even sunk at the bottom of the Rochdale Canal. Well, at least they weren't riding them naked. But it goes to show, no matter where, people will always find a way to ruin free bikes. Alright, well, let's head off through the 9 o'clock portal and take our first look at the playa. We've just got a massive sailing ship ahead of us, and then you just see the faint silhouettes of sculptures and art cars wherever you look. So we'll check all that out later. The weather's pretty good. I hear there might be a little bit of wind later on, so a chance of some sandstorms, but fingers crossed. Black Rock City doesn't just appear. Weeks before anyone arrives, a survey crew's out here with GPS and trucks. The very first stake goes into the dust at the dead centre, the golden spike. And then when it's all over, just gone. Every stake, every flag, every road. Crews walk the whole site, shoulder to shoulder, until the desert's clean. Which is kind of genius if you think about it, because it means they can tweak the plan every year. Didn't like a plaza layout? Shift it. Temple felt too close. Push it further out. Do you know how hard it is to change a road in somewhere like Paris? Years of bureaucracy, lawsuits, angry residents. I mean, just ask Houseman. Out here, it's a fresh city, new layout, every single year. And there he is, the man himself. I always thought the man would be the most fun thing to design, but he's not the result of some fancy competition. No star architect gets a job. Every year, the Burning Man crew sketches a new version in-house. They prefab the pieces, then, a few weeks before the gates open, 50 to 100 volunteers head out here to raise them. Carpenters, engineers, scaffold crews, working in the heat and dust to build something strong enough for the desert winds. But always destined to burn. He's the anchor. Every road points to him. The whole city orbits around him. On the penultimate night, tens of thousands gather here. The ritual, the spectacle, the catharsis. I mean, it's literally in the name. But not everything here is on that scale. Out on the playa, anyone can roll up with something they built. A sculpture, a theme camp, or, if you really want to get noticed, a mutant vehicle. Hey, cool dragon, is that thing yours?
You like her? 2 tons of welded steel, LEDs, subwoofers. We drag her out here every single year.
Nice man, that looks like a crazy amount of work.
Crazy? Buddy, that's Burning Man. Radical self-reliance, keeping this beast alive in the dust. Gifting. Every ride's free. Every dance floor is free. Communal effort? You think I built her alone? And self-expression? What else do you call a fire-breathing dragon with a DJ booth on its back? If there's space, climb on. Just don't be a jerk. Out here, half the fun's catching a lift and seeing where the night takes you.
It might not be everyone's cup of tea, but I think it'd be really cool just to vibe about following a flame-throwing octopus in the Nevada desert. But of course, out here, things can change fast. Dust storms can roll in out of nowhere. Sometimes it's 10 minutes, sometimes 10 hours. You lose your bearings, your camp, even the man himself, and the city shrinks to the few feet in front of you. And it's not just about surviving the festival. Crews are out here for weeks trying to build on tight schedules. Crane operators, carpenters, artists, everyone working to a plan. And then Mother Nature just goes, hold my beer. That's why radical self-reliance isn't the slogan. Out here the environment decides, and everything, buildings, vehicles, even fashion, has to be designed around that fact. Alright, well, it looks like we made it through the sandstorm in one piece. So I guess now we should go look at some art. Every year, hundreds of artists haul impossible projects out here. When I say art, you know, they're never tidy little plinths or polite canvases. More like a Soviet jet sliced in half and turned into a shrine. A house teetering on giant chicken legs. A steel samurai looming over the dust. Ask the art world and they'll roll their eyes. Too gaudy, too gimmicky, too thirsty for Instagram. Half of it wouldn't make it through the door at Art Basel, but I kind of think that's the point. Out here, it's not about collectors or price tags, it's about building something absurd, massive and temporary, just to share with whoever bikes past. I will admit it, I am biased. A few years back, I actually designed a piece for Burning Man. We had a full team, artists, engineers, craftsmen, sound designers. It was the scale of a real building. Designing it felt no different to architecture anywhere else. Weight, structure, safety, accessibility, all of it. And every part had to be planned so a volunteer crew could put it together quickly and then take it all down again. I still remember meeting the crane operator one time. He looked at our drawings and just laughed. Too high, too heavy, needed a fancier crane. Well, that's 100 grand we didn't have. So we rethought it completely. Made it modular, broke it into pieces that could be assembled before it even reached the player. And honestly, it made it better. It didn't get built like most of my projects, but it really was close. Okay, well, there's just one place left to check out. Past the chaos and the storms, you reach the temple. If the man is the heartbeat of Blackrock City, the temple is its soul. And unlike the man, which is designed in-house, the temple comes from proposals, artists and architects pitching their visions, trying to design a space that holds everyone's grief, joy, and everything in between. The designs are all over the map. Some years it's an intricate lattice of timber, other years a stark, minimal frame. Each one changes how it feels inside, like walking into a cathedral, or a labyrinth, or a lantern just waiting to burn. And then there's David Best, the legendary Burning Man architect, the one who really defined what the temple could be. In 2016, his crew built a multi-tiered pagoda, lit with glowing lanterns, like something out of Nepal. It felt timeless, like it had always been here. That one's still my favourite. What is this place?
This is the temple. It's the quietest place in Blackrock City. Out there it's fire and bass. In here it's stillness. People call it the soul of the city.
How do you build a place like this?
With a lot of hands. The temple isn't built by Burning Man itself. It's funded through donations and raised by volunteers. Dozens of us come out weeks before the gates open, cutting, lifting, bolting, all day in the heat and the dust. We camp right here while we build it.
And why do you do all this?
We build it for everyone else. People come here with grief, with memories, with things they can't carry alone. You can feel it in the air.
And then, like everything else, it burns. No music, no cheering, just silence. So, how do you build a city like this? Start with the golden spike, and a bunch of principles no one can remember. Mix in bikes, art, a few thousand tarps, and a healthy disregard for sleep. Leave it out in the sun for 9 days, then burn it. Pack it up, sweep the desert clean. If you did it right, it will still leave something behind.